X Nibiru system bringing energies in, or is that another conspiracy, right? Have you guys heard about this? Right? Have you dug up this conspiracy yet? Planet X, right? We're talking about the 10th planet in our solar system, Nibiru, the Anunnaki. This is the theory that humans have been manipulated by aliens, ancient aliens, for since the dawn of man. And we were actually created and mixed our DNA with their DNA to create what we would call a human today, meaning we're part alien and mostly the mammal that is domestic to this planet. And they have combined us, and we have created a now hybrid system that supposedly is to harvest gold that then they come and harvest and infiltrate. And I believe it's like a 2,600 year cycle orbiting around the sun or something like that. Now, I've heard about this conspiracy a long time ago. We're not going to get into whether this is real or not. The true answer to this is there are outside influences to this planet that go beyond politics, that go beyond the environment, that go beyond anything that we would call celestial. That's my favorite word, celestial. Because when you tune into this, it's like we're all celestial, right? Remember that, because you're just the human form right now wrapped around, right? You're just the meat suit wrapped around this beautiful light being that you are. You are celestial. You are just as powerful, if not more powerful, than any alien or whatever theory that you can think of, whatever entity that you can think of. You, the chosen one, are more powerful. So it's good to educate yourself with these things. However, you can see what people do is they give away their power to these conspiracies, or they give their power away to the doctor system and the Western pharmaceutical companies or whatever. It doesn't matter what the thing is, right? Because it comes back down to energy. Claiming your energy. Being the chosen one. Being the Neo, right? Going beyond the matrix, creating the change, defeating the elites, the cabal, going in tune with that light and love energy. If you're not getting more of that, then it's just a distraction. I don't care how it's justified in your mind. It's going to distract you and keeping you away from unlocking your gifts. And that's what this is all about. It's time. It's time to unlock those gifts. And I know you know what you need to do.
For those of you that have been waiting patiently and letting me know that you're eager for my next, thanks for waiting, and thanks for encouraging me to keep it going. Because I will tell you, I have gotten very busy, and life is on the move, life is on the march, things are happening. So I haven't forgotten about those of you that very much appreciate the stuff that I put out, and those of you that actually kind of help keep it going. I don't mention names, but there have definitely been a couple of people that have tossed a coin into the fountain, and I truly appreciate that. So, y'all know who you are. Truly appreciate that. It does help. Look, I buy books and I buy bandwidth and I buy, I do things that facilitate this, right? So, thank you. And so here we go. This is going to be, as advertised, the self-refinement grab bag, because that really is the name of the game. And I wasn't suffering from writer's block or whatever you want to call it. I'm suffering from, I got too many things I'd like to put out there. And there's some things that maybe aren't a good idea to put out there. And then there's some things that maybe I don't have the capability to put out there. And then, there's other things that, one thing at a time, right? Well, I figured, to hell with one thing at a time. I'm going to give you all a few things in one shot that all align with one another. So, zooming out, big picture. It is how you think about things that really matters. Okay, there's a Buddhist saying, nothing is good or bad, only thinking makes it so. I'm sure there are exceptions, right? I feel like I could think of some exceptions, right? Some things that are good or that are bad, regardless of how you're looking at it. But I think in general, it's really true and it's really valuable. Going to another Eastern philosophy, Taoism, right? There's an old Taoist proverb that I love, and I'll make it super short for you. Once upon a time, there was a guy, an old farmer. He was, tending to his farm, and one of his horses ran away. So his neighbors were all like, "Oh man, that is just horrible. That is just some bad fortune right there." And the old man was like, "Yeah, maybe." So then a few days later, the stallion comes back. He's got a few mares with him that he found out in the wild, right? Come back, was hungry, I guess, wanted a place to sleep, whatever. Anyways, the horses come back. He's got more with him, and so the neighbors are like, "Man, that is incredible good fortune. Wow, you're so lucky." And the farmer was like, "Maybe." So then a couple days later, his son, his grown son, is like trying to trying to help break in the new horses there, and gets thrown, and he breaks his leg. And so those wise neighbors once again come by to offer their opinions, and they're like, man, that is just horrible. That just what lawful luck. And the old man is like, yeah, maybe. And so then a couple of days later, some of the government officials come by, and they're looking. They want conscripts. There's a war on. We taking young men. Where's your son? Oh, he's got a broken leg. Well, I guess he can't march with us, so we're gonna leave him. So they passed his son over. His son didn't have to go off to war for whatever purpose, right? And the neighbors come over. They're like, man, this is amazing. What great luck. You know what the old man said? Maybe. So the point of that story is, you really got to take a step back, because sometimes things that you think are bad actually are in your best interest. You just ain't patient enough or wise enough or whatever. You don't have the perspective, whatever it is, to notice it. And then vice versa, of course, right? You're like, man, I won this money, and then 2 weeks later, somebody kills you for it. So, yeah, right? So with that having been said, let's take a look at things that can empower people. And remember that power is neutral. Right? Is fire good or evil? Well, it depends. Is it cooking your food, or is it roasting you alive? Feel me? Power is neutral. Money, good or evil. We're not going to keep going over it. Power is neutral. It's what people do with it. Let us get into one of my favorite. Because, look, here's the thing. If the heathens can do it, why not us, huh? If you got heathens out there healing each other with energy and doing all kinds of incredible stuff, well, then that means it's possible now, doesn't it? And if it's possible, well, then what? Huh? What are we doing not using that? Now, some might argue, but they get their power from demons. Okay, let's just get something squared away right now. Okay? If the Dark Lord or one of his underlings, a demon or whatever, can manipulate reality in such a way that, these people have powers to heal or levitate or whatever the case, freaking, disco ball out of their fingertips, whatever it is. If the Dark Lord can make that possible, well, look, baby, we only got two choices. Either the Dark Lord can do things that the Creator can't, which doesn't make any sense, or anything the Dark Lord can do, the Creator can do, which means, by extension, we are capable of doing, right? Under the right circumstances, right? With the right preparation of the vessel. Okay? So if the heathens can do it, why not us? We just have to find the right way to access the power, right? We're not sacrificing chickens, you know what I'm saying? We find the right way to access the power and the right application for it. Why would you not want to be able to heal people with your hands and the intention? That was what Jesus was accused of doing, nah? So of course we want to make ourselves powerful. So anybody who's still sleeping on that and feeling conflicted, I don't know what to tell you. I hope you make it to the other side. I'm getting powerful, okay? For those of y'all that are with me, they're like, yep, I get it, okay? We're going to walk the straight and narrow. We're going to be more powerful than these people because we're going to be on the right side of things. Great, we together now. One of my favorite empowerment methods, Ninjutsu. You might be saying to yourself, what? Oh, yes. I'm going to just read you something out of this here book. It's an outstanding book. Whatever anyone thinks about Dr. Masaki Hatsumi is besides the point, right? I'm gonna just share some gemage, okay? And I'm just gonna give you this because I want you to understand, like everything else, there's what you thought you know about something, and then there's really the real thing. There's the public face that they stick in everybody's face, and then there's the truth, right? It's like with everything, people, right? You thought ninjutsu was different. You thought American Ninja, dancing around in the middle of the day in a black outfit and hitting people with machine guns with ninja stars. Come on. What is ninja really? What is ninjutsu really? Ninpo. What's it about? Well, the essence of all martial arts and military strategies is self-protection and the prevention of danger. Ninjutsu epitomizes the fullest conception of self-protection through martial training, in that the ninja art deals with the protection of not only the physical body, but of the mind and spirit as well. Can you think of any reasons why they might have wanted to take ninjutsu and make it seem like this ridiculous bullshit? Sorry, I don't usually cuss, but that's what they did. This is on some other stuff. The way of the ninja is the way of enduring, surviving, and prevailing over all that would destroy one. More than merely delivering strikes and slashes, and deeper in significance than the simple outwitting of an enemy, ninjutsu is the way of attaining that which we need while making the world a better place. In the beginning of study of any combative martial art, proper motivation is crucial. Without the proper frame of mind, continuous exposure to fighting techniques can lead to ruin instead of self-development. Absolutely. But this fact is not different from any other beneficial practice in life when carried to extremes. Medical science is dedicated to the betterment of health and the relief of suffering. And yet, the misuse of drugs and the exaltation of the physician's skills can lead people to a state where an individual's health is no longer within his or her personal control. It goes on. This is outstanding stuff. I highly recommend you get your hands on this book if you have any interest in the martial arts, which quite frankly you ought to. Martial art is just, it's a crucial self-empowerment path, if you will. It's fit for everyone. It's fit for everyone. You know, different people are going to have different paths within that path, if you will, but it's fit for everyone. I'm going to throw some martial arts stuff out there at some point in time. So that's one. We're going to hang out in the East, by the way. Okay, we're going to hang out in the East. I feel like there's a lot of stuff, it's Western and we've been exposed to it, and that's great, and I love it, and it's valuable. But, Eastern tends to be a little bit more mysterious and a little bit less known. Much easier shellacked with BS, like with ninjutsu, for example, right? But I've spent a lot of time out in the East, so to speak. So I've waded through a lot of this. I'm going to bring in the things that I think are valuable, right? So another thing from the East. The Neijing, otherwise known as the Yellow Emperor's Classic of Medicine. This is an ancient text. Right? Not this particular one here, right? This is obviously a modern translation, but this text is ancient. No one really actually knows exactly when this came about, but we're talking ancient stuff, okay? It's not just Israel that has 2,000-year-old texts, okay? China's been around a long time. They have an amazing history. God help the Chinese, because they're under the boot right now in ways that I hope we never get to experience. I pray for the liberation of China. Boy, I tell you, you will hear a shout like you never heard when the Chinese are liberated. But that's another video, huh? So, the Yellow Emperor's Classic of Medicine. Now, this is rooted in the philosophy of Taoism, right? You can spell that T-A-O-ism, or you can spell that D-A-O-ism. It doesn't even matter, okay? Taoism, right? Tao is just the way. The way to what? The way to and from and within and without the Creator, right? The Tao is also synonymous with the Creator of 10,000 names and 10,000 forms. These ancient Taoists understood, yes, there's a creator God. No, we're not about to fully figure this out. Okay? So what they did was they spent a lot of time studying themselves, the microcosm, and the creation around them, the macrocosm, right? And through understanding these things, they gain knowledge of the creator. I mean, this is the same stuff I've been talking about, right? So I'm going to kind of zip around a little bit because it can be a little verbose, and I'm trying to keep this one a little shorter. In ancient times, the Yellow Emperor Huang Di was known to have been a child prodigy. And as he grew, he showed himself to be sincere, wise, honest, and compassionate. He became very learned and developed keen powers for observing nature. His people recognized him as a natural leader and chose him as their emperor. During his reign, Huang Di discoursed on medicine, health, lifestyle, nutrition, and Taoist cosmology with his ministers, Qibo and Lei Gong. So the emperor inquires of his ministers, I've heard that in the days of old, everyone lived 100 years without showing the usual signs of aging and decay. In our time, however, people age prematurely, living only 50 years. Now keep in mind, this is written a few thousand years ago. He's talking about back then. He's talking about in ancient times. So I don't know exactly when he has in mind, but just keep in mind, we're going back a ways, right? In our time, however, people age prematurely, often living only 50 years. Is this due to a change in the environment, or is it because people have lost the correct way of life? Qibo replied, in the past, people practiced the Tao, the way of life. They understood the principle of balance, of yin and yang, as represented by the transformation of energies in the universe. Thus, they formulated practices And he talks about that. They ate a balanced diet. They arose and retired at regular hours. They avoided overstressing their bodies and minds and refrained from overindulgences of all kinds. They maintained well-being of body and mind. Thus, it is not surprising that they lived over 100 years. I agree. These days, people have changed their way of life. They drink wine as though it were water, indulge in excessively in destructive activities, drain their jing. That is a word for like the body's essence, right? Think of it sort of like qi, but not. Separate conversation. In any event, they drain their jing. They deplete their qi. They do not know the secret of conserving their energy and vitality. Seeking emotional excitement and momentary pleasures, people disregard the natural rhythm and order of the universe. They fail to regulate their lifestyle and diet and sleep improperly. So it is not surprising they look old at 50 and die soon after. Servants of God, what are you doing to your vessel? What are you doing to that temple? You treating it well, or is it going to fall apart by the time you hit your 60s or your 70s? Is that any way to honor your creator? Just something to think about. Right? This old Chinese man, who some might call a heathen, kind of had it together. He goes on, right? And they're talking. The Tao is precious and is not to be passed on unless a student is sincere and compassionate toward human suffering. Only in this way can the great tradition remain pure and virtuous. These are not evil philosophies. These are not evil men. This is not evil. This is empowering.
We can't see the air around us, but we can feel it. We walk in it, we breathe it in, and we can't live without it. So what about energy? Not the energy we make to power our homes, our cars, and our phones, but the energy that keeps our hearts beating. We can't see that either, or can we? For thousands of years, energy has been utilized by traditional medicine as a force that helps and heals us. But what exactly is it, and how can we use it? These are big questions, and we needed big answers. So we spoke to a medical energy expert, Dr. Yang Jingduan, who is dedicated to keeping our brains clear, our hearts strong, and our energy flowing.
The key components of living human being is the energy. What do you mean by energy? People have trouble to comprehend that, but actually energy is what keeps us alive and functional. It really means the air we breathe in, the food we eat, they all transform into energy, right? And our voice, our body temperature, our heartbeat, our lung breathing, our bowel movements, our thoughts, and our emotions.
So it is tangible then?
Very tangible. If you don't have energy, you're not alive.
All doctors to the ER.
Y'all need to get familiar with this stuff. This is about healing. This is about longevity. This is about quality of life. This is about being able to serve your creator for a long period of time effectively. And it nicely segues with what I wanted to mention next. Alchemy. I talk a lot about law. Law is really important. Alchemy and Taoism, frankly, that's also about law. It's about the natural laws that are out there that govern nature. Right? Not so much the affairs of mankind, right? We talk about common law and natural law. That's talking about mankind, the affairs of mankind. The natural law of the universe, the natural order of the universe, that's what alchemy and Taoism is about understanding. And we could go deep down this rabbit hole, but these are things that you want to come to understand, because even if you don't practice any of this, so to speak, you will gain a lot just learning about it, right? So alchemy's got two different approaches. There's the physical approach, and by physical I mean what you might call dead matter, although arguably nothing's dead. We're talking about metals and stones and plants and stuff like that. And then there's the spiritual alchemy. So we're talking about inside, mankind, right? It ultimately is a process of refinement, no matter which way you look at it. When it comes to the inert matter stuff, alchemy a lot of times is about refining metals. It doesn't have to be metals, though. That's the thing. It can be about accelerating the growth of a plant. There's life in everything. Depending on how you want to look at things, right? We could say there's 4 or 5 elements, right? And we're talking about energetics here, right? We're not talking periodic chart, okay? the esoteric here. Don't get tripped up, okay? I'm sorry, this is really deep stuff. There's just no other way to approach it. I hope some of y'all are following me, you have some idea what I'm talking about. As we get further down in density on the elements, right? So if we're going to go a 4-element mode of looking at things, you've got your fire, you've got your air, you've got your water, and you've got your earth, right? Fire, you can see the waves happening. You can see it happening for the flickering of the flames, right? That's fast-moving waves, faster than water. If you could see air, you'd see the same thing, fast-moving waves and turbulence, right? A little bit slower than those flames dancing around because that's just energy and light, right? We're getting more dense now. So now we get to water, and you can see the water moving in the peaks and the troughs, right? In the mountains and the valleys, right? Peaks and troughs, mountains and valleys. It's the same stuff. We're just talking about water versus earth. And then you go down to the earth level and you can see peaks and the troughs. Now, just like the water moves slower than the earth or the fire, the earth moves exponentially slower than the water. But it's still the same process playing out. That mountain is on a slow march, pebble by pebble, to the beach. Just like that tsunami is on a not as slow march to the beach. Everything is going through a process of transformation, okay? And so that is what alchemy is about. Exerting some kind of control over the forces and the processes of transformation. So we could be talking about making a plant grow faster. We could be talking about making a wound heal faster. Or we could be talking about helping metals to transform faster. Because, come on now. Where'd the gold come from? God snap his fingers? Hogwarts. Gold? No. Nope. Created by natural processes that took time. So if you were blessed by God with the knowledge to understand how to accelerate these processes, might you be able to make lead, let's say, evolve into gold in a shorter period of time than what normally takes? I see no reason why it should be impossible. And there are a lot of much wiser and more educated than me that have talked about this. Serious people. Sir Isaac Newton, I'm not going to give you a list. Serious people across the ages and across the world. That's one of the things that I find so interesting. There were Chinese Taoists that were into alchemy. There were Arabs, during the Caliphate period, right? When the Arabian world was sort of eclipsing Europe in terms of technology and mathematics and all that, right? They were into alchemy, and then obviously Europeans into alchemy, and then certainly people that came over to America. So alchemy's been around a long time. A lot of fools involved in alchemy. A lot of people done killed themselves. I believe, much like they said in the Neijing, that certain things will just not be revealed to the unworthy. I think that's like a cosmic law because this stuff is powerful. Can you imagine if the wrong person gained this power to be able to accelerate or slow down the cycles of change? They can transform matter and, and then the spiritual aspect. Whoa! Really can't let that fall into the wrong person's hands. So I think that there are like spiritual locks on some of this knowledge, but that's sort of a separate conversation. The point is, very serious people across the ages, across the world have looked into this. You need to look into this stuff too. Now on the spiritual level, right? Because as cool as it would be to turn lead into gold, like I could also see a lot of problems coming from that. So that's neat. Footnote. What's it really about though? It's really about turning your excrement into gold. And there's even a movie that touches upon this. It's a wild one. Not for the faint of heart. I'll tell you right now, it is bonkers. But there's a lot of gems in it. You might check it out, but I'm just telling you now, it's not for everybody. Fair warning, there's some bizarre stuff in there that even I was like, whoa. What was that? FYI, right? Kids need to be in bed before you watch that one. So the spiritual aspect of alchemy, the transformation process of alchemy, that's really what I want to call your attention to. The caduceus, right? Let's break down that caduceus real quick, right? Now you've seen this in a bunch of different forms. Most commonly you see this as like a medical symbol, right? This is many layers of symbolism here, but you've got that disc at the top there, and the wings, and the serpent. Some people equate the serpents to DNA, double helix. You could look at it as yin-yang energies, however you want to look at it. In that central column, you could look at it as, your spinal column, and here's your brain, your pineal gland, whatever, doesn't matter. Worth looking into because this stuff is ancient. Self-refinement is ancient. And again, if the heathens can do it and make themselves wiser and more powerful, then by God, so can we. Huh? And we'd be nuts, dereliction of duty, not to do that. With wisdom, of course. We're not following their same path, okay? But the same things are achievable, right? Unless it's straight up harming people. Oh yeah, we want to be able to do the same stuff, yeah. Refinement of the self. That's really what alchemy is about, okay? Gnosis, just a word I want to throw out there. Remember, this is a grab bag, folks. Gnosis, that's knowledge. Not the kind of knowledge you get from a book, but the kind of knowledge you get from some kind of experience, whether it's an external or an internal experience. You want that. You need to check out the Gospel of St. Thomas. Check out the Gospel of St. Thomas and start learning about Gnosis and Gnostic Christianity. Remember, censorship is ancient, okay? Information control and framing a discussion is ancient, okay? Roman emperors were doing this centuries ago. Kings of England were doing this centuries ago. Stay outside of the box, because that box may turn into a coffin the way things are going. I want to share a thought with you here that all knowledge comes from within, right? You think about this. Everything that's out there that wasn't created by natural processes, right, aka the creator, where did it come from, right? I mean, where did this come from? Where did this come from? How about this one? Well, it all came from the minds of mankind. That's where it came from, right? This didn't grow on a tree, right? So that's why we're not going to say, well, the creator created it, although, arguably, right? Yeah. But where did it come from? It came from the mind of a man or a woman. And it was created, even if machines did it, it was created by the hands of man. That's everything out there that's not just part of the natural world, the natural creation. That's all of it. Came from the mind of mankind, made by the hands of mankind. It wasn't like a book fell out of the sky with instructions. No. This was either in there and they accessed it, or they were inspired, right? Inspires, like influence, right? Things coming in. Respire, respiration, right? That's the breath. Inspire, spire, S-P-I-R, spirit, huh? We getting this with the words, right? So inspiration, that can happen for sure. But ultimately, look, it's coming through man. And that is what I want you to recognize, is that there is no secret book out there with a secret that's so secret that you can only get it out of that book. No! It can be given to you direct download, inspiration from your creator, or it's already in there and you can access it, by different ways. Usually experience is what unlocks things that are already inside of you, right? Experience translates to access of different things. Like as an example, if I've got experience with what a knife is, like what is a knife and how is it composed? If I have that experiential knowledge, well, I might just be able to make a knife. And if I have the experiential knowledge of what I can do now that I have a knife that I've made, well, now there's all kinds of things that I can do with that tool, right? Thanks to the experience. The tool. Yeah, all right, a knife. What do you think all of this is? It's just a tool. The mind-body complex is just a tool. It is your spirit's tool for doing things here on this prime material plane, right? Your mind can interface with the non-physical in a way that, I'm sorry, people, they want to act like they got it figured out. They do not have it figured. They don't even understand how sleep works. Trust me. I've been looking into it since I was a kid, fascinated with sleeps and dreams. They still ain't got that figured out, okay? This is incredible technology, natural technology. So here's our next grab bag piece. The natural versus the artificial. Look, if it's artificial, there's a great chance that it's not good for you. It's satanic, in the purest sense of the word. And there's a great chance that if it's natural, it is a positive thing for you. Yes, I understand that arsenic is natural and you can eat that and die, all right? There's always exceptions. Socks are unnatural, but I don't know if I could survive without them, okay? So, I'm not trying to be, dogmatic, black and white, right? But I'm just saying, generally speaking, right? Looking big picture, it's a lot easier to see. You take a look out of my window and you take a look at New York City and you say, wow, there's nothing natural about that. And that's probably why we have so many funky things going on here. Murders through the roof. And, people got all kinds of funky diseases. The air quality is unbelievable. But the point is, this artificial environment creates all kinds of artificial problems. It's a satanic environment. I mean, man was not meant to live this way, right? I'm not saying we weren't meant to come together and live in communities. This is not a community. This is the worst of all worlds put together. There's definitely some upsides to it. It's not worth it. Sorry, I've been here a long time. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Right? It's like Pleasure Island in Pinocchio. Yeah, you go, you have a good time. You turn into a donkey. Is it worth it? So, it's ditto with food. If it's artificial food, it's doing things to you that you don't want done to you. I know it tastes good. I hear heroin's lots of fun too. It doesn't mean it's a good idea. Okay? People got to get over their little addictions. But I like Cocoa Puffs. I don't want to hear it no more. Artificial stuff, you want to watch out for it. Natural stuff is the way to go. Artificial, leading you away from the creator. Natural, leading you toward the creator. This is basic stuff, folks. You got to get your food squared away. You got to get your lifestyle squared away. You got to start looking into some of these systems of empowerment. Find what works for you, right? So I covered Ninjutsu. I talked about alchemy. I talked about Gnosis. Mentioned the Kundalini, the serpent power that supposedly is located in the base of your spine, right? And it works its way upwards depending on the exercises you do and activates your energy centers and gives you higher functioning. Definitely worth looking into. Because remember, power is neutral. You are, with this equipment, you're like a television or a radio. And it's just a matter of just tuning, right? Just tuning it. Tuning the frequency, catching the right vibration. If there was porn and self-empowerment seminars, both on the radio, you could tune your radio to whichever frequency, right, you want to pick up. It's the same exact thing. You can wallow in that low frequency that's just keeping you down at your second chakra, living in genital land all the time. Or you can tune your radio to elevate your frequency so that maybe that pineal gland is popping open, right? Maybe your throat chakra is opening up and you're learning how to express yourself better, right? Maybe your heart chakra is opening up. I mean, you ever seen the images of Jesus like opening his chest and there's this heart there? I don't know what they were trying to say, but it seems to me like Jesus' heart chakra was like really humming along. We want to be like that, yeah? I mean, it takes some work, right? So you want to definitely dig into this stuff. You want to get your radio tuned right because it's all out there. The question is, what are you going to resonate with? What frequency are you going to pick up and then rebroadcast out to the world? Got to be working on this stuff. This is serious business. All right, I've spent enough time on this. There's a lot more, but those are some of my favorite self-empowerment trails, if you want to. Now, with knowledge being closely tied to power, I gotta just drop a little gem here for you, okay? Because I want everybody to see this. Because this is one of those things that you see this and you're just like, ha, WTF in all caps. This is from nih.gov, as you'll see. Now, you can read this at your leisure, but I'm just going to point something out. You read through this and two things become abundantly clear. Keep in mind, this is nih.gov. Fauci, Dr. Anthony Fauci, right? Like the frickin' golden boy of our time. He is one of the directors. Okay? So, this is about as official as it gets. And what do we have? Oh, look at that. People who have had the coronavirus and recovered have long-term immunity. That's neat. This is not my opinion, YouTube. This is off of nih.gov. Oh, what else is that? Oh, they're hopeful. There's a nice word. They're hopeful that the vaccines that they're developing will work as well. As well as what? As well as... Oh, I get... So you're hopeful that your artificial solution will work as well as God's natural solution, called the immune system response. That's neat. I'm going to leave it at that. Y'all are free thinkers. You know what to do with that. Maybe a little while. I'm going to try to put out a little bit of martial arts stuff just for giggles. I have some videos that are sort of, they were kind of testers. I may just put them out anyway because, like I said, I've been real busy. I'm going to be busy for a while. I'm working on some big stuff. I'm working on getting out of Babylon in a couple of different ways. So there will definitely be more to come, but it may be a little while. Y'all stay blessed. Stay empowered. Empower other people. Enjoy every day.